think we need to agree together tonight and pray about this, that this thing stops. So, as you know, we're the government and the highest place of decisions in this city. So together, agree with me. In Proverbs it says that the scepter or the rule of the wicked shall not rest on the land of the righteous. So we say that right away, that this is not going to continue. This rule of the wicked is not going to keep on. So we declare, Jesus, that you rule over Freeport. We declare that the rule of the wicked is brought to nothing. Wisdom and safety for our police, Father, in every decision they make, every plan that they make against these enemies of our city. We come against the schemes and the plans of the gangs to come to nothing, to absolutely fall to the ground, have no power. We ask, Father, that you would release confusion and division in the camp of these gangs. And we even take authority over our gates. And Father, we plead the power of the blood of Jesus over every gate. And we declare that they are not going to be coming in from Chicago and Rockford into this city. We forbid them traveling into this city. And Lord, we just decree and declare that this code of silence among the people in Freeport is broken, that those who see things will begin to report it. We all agree, Father, that we want our city safe and peaceful. And Lord, we just pray right now, every policeman will have a level head. Every policeman will be protected, whether they're walking or in their police car. Lord, that you will keep them all safe. And we thank you, God, that you rule over this city. And in God we trust. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. So being at 6 o'clock, we'll officially call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Mayor Miller,
Here.
Alderperson Clem,
Here.
McClanathan,
Here.
Ross,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Busker,
Here.
Brashaw,
Here.
Keister,
Here.
Chesney.
Here.
Alderman Buster, would you lead us in the pledge?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
$1.26. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderperson Brashaw, seconded by Alderman Busker. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Busker,
Aye.
Brashaw,
Aye.
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Okay, so we will move on to item number 5, which is the second reading of ordinance 2017-60. Madam Clerk, would you please read this into the record?
An ordinance amending Part 6 General Offenses Code, Chapter 692, Weapons and Explosives, Section 692.02 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Freeport, Illinois, regarding concealed weapons. At the July 27, 2017 council meeting, Alderperson Keister moved and Alderperson Chesney seconded to move this ordinance forward for approval, and it was automatically laid over to tonight's meeting.
Thank you. This ordinance places our city ordinance in line with the state's concealed carry regulations. Is there any further discussion on this ordinance? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll on the passage of ordinance 2017-60?
Busker,
Aye.
Brashaw,
Aye.
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Passes 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 6 is the second reading of ordinance 2017-61. Madam Clerk, would you please read this into the record?
An ordinance of the City of Freeport, Illinois to establish reserve funds. Originally in resolution form, this went before the July 10, 2017 Committee of the Whole. Alderperson McClanathan moved and Alderperson Busker seconded that this ordinance move forward for approval with amendments. The motion carried unanimously. At the July 27, 17 council meeting, Alderperson moved and Alderperson Clem seconded to move this ordinance forward for approval, and it was automatically laid over to tonight's meeting.
Manager Crowe, is there anything you wanted to add to this?
No, ma'am.
Is there any further discussion on this second reading? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll on the passage of ordinance 2017-61?
Busker,
Aye.
Brashaw,
Aye.
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McClanathan, Ross,
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Passes 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 7 is the first reading of ordinance 2017-63. Madam Clerk, would you please read this into the record?
An ordinance granting a variance from section 1268.02 pertaining to lot coverage and permitted obstructions for property located at 2080 Cherokee Court, Freeport, Illinois.
I believe that this is a presentation made by the Community and Economic Director.
Just to give you a little background, Larry and Linda Donmeyer requested a variance to allow them to convert their porch located at 2080 Cherokee Court in Freeport to a 4-season room. They obtained written permission from the Cherokee Court Association Board for the project. A petition was filed on June 30th, 2017 by the Donmeyers with the Community and Economic Development Department seeking approval of the variance to allow conversion of a deck to a permanently roofed over 4-season porch in an R6 residential district. The Board of Zoning Appeals met on July 24th, 2017 to review the Donmeyers petition. The petition was approved unanimously. The board is requesting that council suspend the rules tonight and move the variance forward.
Mayor,
Alderman McClanathan.
Director McDonald, my understanding was there was no objection by any of the neighbors, and then also included in the packets that showed that this was also approved by the association, so we're not going to run into any situations where we pass this variance, but the association has an issue with it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Mayor,
Alderman Chesney.
Director McDonald, so nobody reached out to your office after the meeting to express any concern about the project? You've heard no objection of any kind?
We've received no objections.
Mayor,
Alderman Keister.
motion to approve.
Second.
Mayor.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Alderman Keister, seconded by Alderman Clem to move this forward, and a motion to suspend the rules made by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Chesney. And a suspension of the rules is non-debatable and needs a 2/3 majority. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll on the suspension of the rules only?
Busker,
Aye.
Brashaw,
Aye.
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
So now before the council is the final passage of ordinance 2017-63. Is there any further discussion on this?
Mayor,
Alderman Keister?
I just wanted to say that we've been talking about properties being improved and everything else, and here is one that wants to make a good improvement, and I happen to know the Donmeyer, so I know it'll be done properly. So I urge everybody to pass this and allow them to make the improvement.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll on the passage of ordinance 2017-63?
Busker,
Aye.
Brashaw,
Aye.
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McClanathan, Ross,
Aye.
and Smith.
Aye.
And that is approved 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 8 is the demolition of residential properties CD 004-17. Manager Crowe.
Sorry, I'm just doing some quick math here. So
we went out for bid, did a closed bid, community development director did that. We do have a recommendation going forward to approve JMP Trucking. Their aggregate bid package was less than their overall individual bids, so we made a recommendation to accept the aggregate package. I know there was a question about breaking up individual bids. We can do that. We'll make sure that that's specified in the next type of bid package that we come forward. So, but our recommendation is to accept J&P Trucking, and this will be demolition of 6 more properties.
Mayor,
Alderman Chesney?
thank you. Director McDonald, the vacant property on Elkin and 20, or 26, what is the status on that one, right across from Ann's Garden?
It's actually it is on our demolition list. We have quite a few properties, but it's a matter of getting to them.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Alderman Clem?
I know Alderman Chesney, it's all been marked off and everything by Julie. So I've gone away a couple times. Every one of us said the same thing. Let's get rid of that thing. But yeah, it's all marked off. I know
Good.
that. So
Good, thank you.
Mayor,
Alderman Keister?
make a motion we approve the bid as requested for GMP Trucking.
second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Alderman Keister, seconded by Alderman Clem, to accept the bid package for the JMP Trucking for the demolition. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you take the roll on this approval?
Busker,
Aye.
Brashaw,
Aye.
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
passes 8-0.
Okay, item number 9 is the approval of and authorization to enter into a lease for the Pelican Street Sweeper from the Standard Equipment Company. Manager Crowe.
Yes, so we went out for bids for got the specifications from Street Department, from Public Works, on what we needed to go forward. Went out for bids on this, came out with the standard street sweeper. The lease is included in here. We went with the demo model. It actually had some of the self-oiling capabilities that we requested. Included in the lease is a regular maintenance. They will come out and track the number of hours into the maintenance with the agreement. They will have a reporting back, come out and do maintenance. And then at the end of 7 years, what happens is the companies will come back, and as you'll see as we go forward with fleet, we'll have an option to sell it back into the market, and the company will actually do the sale of that leased vehicle for us. And that money will turn back into our next leased vehicle. And when we get into fleet leasing, that'll become a real benefit. You're going to be seeing, we're going to be presenting at the next COW, the next leased vehicle that we're going to be talking about. But this will be our first foray into that. The cost is $33,953, which is, we had budgeted, or initially was in the capital improvement budget, almost $200,000. And what we are going to use is that will help us begin into our fleet leasing program that we're going to propose to, that we're currently negotiating with Enterprise. So right now it's $33,953.89. I know there was a question come up. I am going to make sure that the local banks are have in the future for all the leases. Have an opportunity to bid on this particular one. Standard, who was the low bidder for the type of sweeper we wanted, they work through Geneva Capital, and because Geneva backs their maintenance program and resale program they have.
Mayor,
Alderman Clem.
motion to move it forward.
Second.
Actually, this would be the request for approval on this.
Okay.
So we have a motion made by Alderman Clem, seconded by Alderman Keister for the approval of the Pelican Street Sweeper. Any further discussion?
Mayor.
Alderman Smith.
So, a little simple arithmetic, over 7 years at 33.9, that's 237,677 for the the total cost of the lease. And it looks to me like the purchase outright is somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000.
That's correct.
Do you have any estimate as to how much,
There-
what the value going forward into our next lease might be? I mean,
So-
excuse me if this discussion's already.
No, it hasn't been. So they're estimating they could resell this vehicle at about 120,000 if they maintain the maintenance. And what you're doing is that maintenance, that cost includes, the 33,000 includes the cost of maintenance. And they said they would come out about once a quarter, right, Tom, when we had this discussion, and do the regular maintenance, and that's going through all the brushes. What it does not include is if our guys run it into something, do some damage to it, break, basically.
Insurance for that.
That's insurance, that's covered by insurance. So this is the regular day-to-day maintenance that they do on the vehicle.
Mayor.
Alderman Keister?
Manager Crowe, does that also include any mechanical breakdowns that they will come in and fix, or are we responsible for those above and beyond the standard maintenance?
It's based upon the type of mechanical breakdown. If they determine, they actually have tracking on the vehicle. If they determine we were driving it too fast, we're not driving in accordance with their instructions, then it falls on us to fix that. If we're driving in accordance with what they specify, then it falls on them.
Okay, thank you.
It falls under the warranty program.
Mayor,
Alderman Keister?
motion to approve is requested.
We already have that.
Oh,
You already seconded it.
oh, you really like it. It's one day.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll on the approval of this lease?
Busker,
Aye.
Brashaw,
Aye.
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McLanathan, Ross,
Aye.
Smith. Passes 8-0.
And item number 10 is the approval of and the authorization to enter into a municipal advisor relationship with Spear Financial Incorporated. Manager Crowe?
So, as we're moving forward and looking at some of the possible bonding issues with our TIF, one of the things that is being requested by both Ellers, who is doing the TIF study, as well as the people that are, when we're getting into large developmental agreements, is the city to have a financial advisor so that basically takes our initiative and takes our concerns forward in the negotiating of the bonds and looks over the documents from our standpoint. One of the other things is that they are concerned because our bond rating has dropped over the last 2 years. So they've asked us to bring a financial advisor and do a good look at what we're doing from a financial standpoint. We actually went out and got 3 bids. Spears was the low bid, and I've worked with Spears in the past. Ellers also bid on this, as did Baird, and both of those were much higher. This is the lowest one. It's $7,500 plus a 1/4% of the bond. All the others were also 1/4% of the bond, but were in excess of $10,000. So this Spear, I believe, will be the best. And from what I understand, talking with them, they were actually the city's financial advisor up until 2012 as they went forward. And it's interesting that since we went with a straight bond sale, basically the person underwriter, the filing the paperwork, which caused our bond rating to go down, was they do all the filing with the SCC on all our bond paperwork, as well as all the paperwork as we go forward if we need to do any more bonds. But they will also carry forward and represent the city in financial negotiations. So that's my recommendation going forward as we look at additional bonds in these TIF zones.
Mayor?
Alderman Brashaw?
Thank you. Manager Crowe, is, in your opinion, this $7,500 plus the 1/4 of the 1%, will this in some way be gained back with their knowledge and their expertise with these issues?
So Spear is I do believe we'll get a better bonding rate. And what they do is, we've currently gone with a single underwriter. And what Spirit does is go out and go through multiple underwriters to see what the best rate the market will provide. And then they can go and sell it. One of the things his concerns is whether, they also look at whether it's a taxable bond, which is a higher rate that we will pay on it versus a tax-free bond. They look at that. The last two bonding issues, we've actually had to, because of the underwriter, we had to go forward and we paid them as revenue taxable, what's known as a boot and suspenders type bond, which is a revenue-based backed GO bond. And you got to make sure as you go forward with the initiative, you're looking at those, because if you get taxable bonds, then that has a higher rate of return, have a higher cost to us, because then people have to pay taxes on those when they buy those.
Mayor,
Alderman Keister.
just maybe a silly question, but just for clarification, it's $7,500 per bond that they do?
No, it's $7,500 a year,
A year.
and then 0.25% for each bond they do.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor?
Alderman Smith.
Well, the agreement says 0.25% of bonds in excess of 2 million.
Right. Well,
We issue $1 million bond with.
Well, they're right. Okay. I'm thinking that we're issuing
I'm sure
more.
we will.
We can just issue.
If we issue under $1 million, yes, we want $1 million or less, we won't be.
Madam Mayor, Manager Crowe, just a couple quick questions. Is the reason that we dropped due to the fact of late filing?
No, it did not have to do with late filing. Our last filing with the SEC actually failed to list 3 of our largest businesses, employers within the city of Freeport. Did not list Snack King, did not list Titan Tire on the list, and then they underestimated the amount of people that Newell Jardin was employing by almost half. So what they were showing was an overall decrease in the number of jobs within the community.
Follow up if I could. Any reason in talking with the company, was there any reason in 2012 we switched to another company? I know you weren't here, but was there?
The current administration felt that they could save money by the explanation. That administration felt they could save money by going straight with an underwriter.
Okay.
The other thing that's happened is the SEC laws changed in 2016 if you don't have a financial advisor, the underwriter has to specify that they're selling the bond without a financial advisor.
Madam Mayor.
Alderperson Bradshaw.
Thank you. Manager Crowe, I'm glad you caught these errors. As someone who is not very learned in bond activity, it's hard for me to understand some of this. So I guess I'll go back to the dollar figures again. With us losing our rating, our bond rating to, I think you told us maybe it was an A- rating.
It went from A+ to A.
So, sir, could you perhaps give us a dollar figure, perhaps that it's cost us in order that we have dropped in that rating?
And so, for every when you go from A to A+, or we talk about basis points, which is the equivalent of so 0.5% is 50 basis points. You're talking anywhere from 40 to 60 basis points within the bond, which is 0.5%, or right around 0.5%. So you're talking on a $1 million bond, you're talking $50,000 cost, if not more, over the life of the bond. It may be higher, that's just off the top of my head, I'd have to do the calculations.
Alderperson Bradshaw.
So, in your words then, this has cost us a large amount of money by not having somebody do the advisor services for us, is that correct?
It will going forward, yes.
Mayor,
Alderperson Chesney.
thank you. What department generally fills out these forms that impact our bond rating?
It would be it's filled out by the finance department and signed, it would have been by the mayor. previously, and then now it'll be signed by myself. And what happens is you also go out, you do an S&P call, where our two rating companies are Moody and S&P, and you actually do a call on the radio, on the phone with them. It's about a 3-hour phone call, and you fill out all the paperwork. So any of the jobs that were improperly listed, when I talked to the underwriter who's been doing our last 3, they said it came from the mayor's office.
Mayor, follow?
Alderman Chesney.
Thank you. Well, we weren't aware of this. Would it be a good practice to have, now, I'm confident that under your leadership, we would certainly be made aware, but would it be a good practice to have some type of ordinance that alerts the council to where if there's any bond rating change, good or bad, that it would automatically have to go before the city council? Because I just feel like we come into these situations in a blind fashion, and then we find out after the fact. But if there was perhaps a trigger that would say, in the event of this happening, it automatically has to be, brought into the consent agenda or something to that effect.
The bond rating the council should have been immediately informed. In fact, the only person that really knew our bond rating had dropped was our underwriter who had been filed the paperwork. When I came in and I asked the treasurer and the financial director, they both told me A+. And then I pulled the paperwork from the last bond rating from Bernardi, and it was listed as A. And then they came in and talked to me, and they said that the mayor gets, and they knew that it had dropped from A+ to A. This last thing, it was due to, and they specifically said it was due to the loss of jobs in the market.
And when did it drop? Roughly what month?
It was they did their bond call, rating call sometime in late 2015.
Mayor?
So it's about 6 months after the bond call is when you get your rating call.
Mayor?
Alderman Keister.
And I do agree with one thing, and Alderman Chesney, we need to be notified about these things, but I think Manager Crowe has already proven that he is going to keep us in the loop and keep us informed on what's going on, so I don't believe in the future that is going to be an issue, or at least I hope it isn't. And I would like to make a motion to approve as requested.
We have a motion for the approval and the authorization to enter into this agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderperson Brashaw. Any further discussion?
Mayor?
Alderman Smith?
So, Mr. Crowe, is there a hope then that our rating could be rehabilitated?
When I talked to Ellers and Spear and Baird all on this, the fact that, so you're aware, Titan has added 50 new jobs. They've moved the ATV line over here. Newell Jardin is adding an additional 75 jobs. Modern Plating is adding 25 jobs. And MetLife is moving back here. And they didn't even have a Snack King listed on the biggest employers. You have to list the 10 largest employers. The feeling is that we can get that. Plus the fact, a couple other things going into it, is the fact you have a professional manager now in the city, that adds to the rating, as does the fact that you have an ordinance in place now to establish a reserve fund.
Great, thank you.
Okay, seeing no further discussion, we have a motion on the floor. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll on this approval?
Buster,
Aye.
Brashaw,
Aye.
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
and that passes 8-0.
Thank you. Next is our department head reports. Community developer.
No additional report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, thank you. I know we just did one round here of demo bids. What would you say would be the ETA as to when we'd have another round? Approximate, I'm not gonna hold you to it.
I would say probably within the next 2 months,
Okay.
not sooner.
Okay.
Mayor?
Alderman Bradshaw.
Thank you. Director McDonald, my question was on the demo that we just approved for the 5 properties. When will they begin on those, and is there a time frame that they're gonna try to have all 5 finished?
Excuse me. I'll tell you in just a minute.
6 properties.
Indeed, it is 6 properties, and those are underway, I would say, within the next 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works, do you have anything to add besides what you already had on file?
Nothing additional.
Any questions for Public Works? Seeing none, Fire Chief Miller.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Since our last city council meeting, the fire department's been quite busy. I know Manager Crow's weekly information sheet to all of you included some of our activities. Obviously, we're all familiar with the windstorm, the floods that happened since then, but also we've been involved. We responded to 6 structure fires. One included a rescue, an unconscious person in the bedroom. In the midst of all that, we continue to have some pretty serious and significant ambulance calls. And then on top of that, we've been notified that ISO will be coming to town to evaluate our fire protection rating. So we're doing a lot of the paperwork and preparation right now to be ready for their visit.
Thank you. Any questions for Fire Chief?
Mayor,
Alderman Keister.
not really a question, but a statement. I have been listening to the scanner at home for a few days, and I'll tell you what, you guys have been jumping quite a bit, and I appreciate what you're doing. I'm sure that they're doing a fine job.
Mayor?
Alderman Smith.
Yes, Chief, does ISO come with some regularity, or do they come periodically, or how is that, what is that process? Can you explain that?
Typically, they used to be on schedule to try to be a 10-year visit, and I was explained to me, we were notified via email, that they've had some changes in their rating and how they evaluate certain municipalities. So right now, we're coming up on 7 years. So, but they also have a habit of being, making visits within a geographic area. So they've been doing some other evaluations. I believe Port Rural has done within the last year, and some other volunteer departments around us have recently been visited and evaluated, and so it's our turn.
Mayor?
Alderman Keister.
Yeah, Chief, you had mentioned that they had made some changes in regulations and stuff. Do you, have they told you what those changes are, and do you anticipate any difficulty with those?
We're still going through all the paperwork that they sent us and all the criteria that they're looking for. I think we may be in a better position this time around due to the enhancements of the water supply and distribution system. So I'm looking forward to that. We may get dinged a little bit with our staffing. That's yet to be determined, but my understanding is that they've also omitted some of the previously required equipment and have taken those things out. Some things that nobody ever uses, like hose jackets and hose clamps and things like that. So things that aren't really essential to our operations have been streamlined, my understanding is, to ISO standards.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Police Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to give a little bit of an update. 4 days ago, I think everyone realized that we had tragically had a shooting on Grove Avenue near Cottonwood Street. I just wanted to update you a little bit. I can't field a lot of questions on that because it's an active investigation, but just want to kind of give you a lowdown of what we've been doing. The detectives, along with my uniformed police officers, I can't say enough. Really, during the first 24 hours immediately following this, we were developing suspects and canvassing neighborhoods. We actually towed 3 different vehicles during that time, brought in and interviewed numerous individuals during that time that all this happened. And we did search warrants on the 3 vehicles. We recovered 2 weapons at that particular time. One of them was a stolen pistol from a Freeport burglary. But tragically, we talked about, we prayed about it a little bit earlier, but the code of silence is difficult to overcome, and that's really where we're at right now. So we're going to still work hard on this. We're not going to give up on pursuing this at every different angle, but a lot has happened in those 4 days. Really, within that first 24 hours, a tremendous amount happened during that time. I know that City Manager Lowell has been keeping you guys up to date on that, and I appreciate that, but we've been in constant contact that whole time right from the get-go. So it was, just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of update on that. I wish I had better news on that, but I don't at this particular time. Any questions about that? I got a couple more things I want to talk about. Some things I won't be able to answer with the investigation, so I hope you understand. I just wanted to, cruise night is this weekend, update everybody on that. We've been working hard on that. Obviously, security is the only thing we think about. So we'll have additional folks out. So that'll be foremost on our mind. July 21st was about 2 weeks ago, and the rains came, and immediately our phones started blowing up because it was Lowell and Tom Dole, Sean, Scott, myself, tremendously busy on that, and worked hard, and everyone come together. But I wanted to take a minute to recognize Alderman Ross. You were a huge part on that, Art. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that, appreciate your leadership. We talk 2 or 3 times a day, every day. That was some of the first things we did was went and evaluated some of those road closures and tried to help folks on the east side as much as we could. But again, I appreciate the leadership that was taken on by Lowell Crow. It was incredible, and I think that you guys recognize that as well. But I wanted to bring that up. Also, one last thing is our Fall Civilian Police Academy is actually filling up relatively quickly. Manager Crow said he wanted to go through that this time, so if anybody wants to be a classmate of the city manager, but it's really filling up. It's September 17th. 1 night a week is 10 weeks. Officer Fedecki will be handling that, that I just wanted to mention that as well. That's all I have. Any questions?
Mayor.
Alderman Keister.
Yeah, I just want to quickly thank Chief Miller and, the police and fire chief and all departments for what they did during the flood. Having experienced it 7 years ago when we had that other bad flood, I was in charge of the fire department that night. I know what you guys went through and how much work it is and how hectic it is, and I appreciate everything you did. And I especially want to thank Manager Crow for keeping us in the loop and posted as to what was going on, what was happening, and where it was happening. That helped out a lot, is keeping us aware of anything in our ward that we needed to worry about.
Okay, city engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick project updates. We have paving will go on Mesa Drive, Canyon Drive, and Arapahoe next week. So I do understand it's a little dusty out there, so we do have some watering provisions scheduled for either this evening or tomorrow morning to catch up with those residents, so it's not a dust bowl through the week. And moving on to City Hall here, we're in the process of reconstructing the parking lot out back. If you peek out the window, and we're going to try to get this place as buttoned up as we can over this next week with a few other provisions still to come. We will be out patching this week, service cuts for water and sewer, so several of them that are some obvious routes, we'll be taking care of those. And then just a reminder to residents, the Gladewood Demeter Bridge is closed to pedestrian traffic until we confirm through a structural inspection that it is safe for pedestrian use. So it may or may not come back online, and we'll go with the structural inspection first before we proceed with any further alterations to that bridge.
Madam Mayor.
Alderman Keister, Clem.
Sean, you mentioned Gladewood. And we know we have some issues there, and until the report comes back, you know, I know Manager Crow wants to get together and have a town hall meeting of what our options are, who, what, why, where, and when. Has the engineering come in yet on Hancock Bridge? Do we have any major structural things there? I know they're just up for inspection, but
Yeah, when we went through the inspection, actually, it was biennial inspections were completed in May. It's just the bridge deck, as I've said before, that's deteriorated to a level where we're pretty close to applying for actual major bridge funds, because that would be a major bridge fund project. The concern on that bridge is not the abutments, it's not the piers. A worst case scenario, if something was to catastrophically fail with the bridge deck, you would fall into the bridge beams themselves. So I get that it's more of an eyesore than it is the functional issues with it, but it's definitely up for replacement. As Lowell and I have talked about some of the alternatives to a to a Hancock Bridge replacement, and looking at possibly replacing that bridge deck and then using the other money to provide an alternate route that isn't flood related back into the arcade area. So there's a few things that I think will probably ultimately lend itself to another kind of public hearing conversation with residents in that area, especially the businesses dealing with the access issues. You're talking 100-year floods that we get every 7 years. This becomes more of a priority, and then 100-year floods are no longer 100-year floods.
pretty good thought. Just a quick one on Gladewood. Any idea when, just a ballpark figure of when we'll know more about it officially?
I'm hoping to get the structural inspection yet this week. They were planning to attend either this week or this past week, so I'm still expecting them to show up and then give, if they are here this week or very early next, I'll be out there with them just to verify the obvious comments. The benefit of having the biannual inspection in May here was the fact that we have most recent photographs and evaluation from 2 months ago. So if we do have a structural failure, it's going to be very obvious. And at that point, we'll either close it or open it again.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk, did you have anything for the library report? No. Okay, then I believe that concludes our department heads. Manager Crowe.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. FACC, talking with Dean, is expecting to finish up the cleanup in 3rd Ward on Wednesday. At that time, we'll pull the dumpsters at Taylor. Currently, to date, we have spent a little over $24,000 in offering dumpsters as well as the transfer station. Total cost of the city is estimated at $483,000 between overtime, repair. That's throwing the replacement of the bridge if we have to do that into that cost. We did have an after-action meeting between all the department heads, and you're going to see some good feedback from everybody. Department heads did an outstanding job, but we're always looking at how things we can do better as we go forward. And you're going to see some things. We're going to set up Central Station as our emergency action area and how we're doing work. Department heads did an outstanding job. I want to thank all of them for responding quickly and keeping myself informed, allowing me to keep the council informed of what's going on. And I told the chief of police I was going to start having to pay him more money because he's the rock star out there appearing on the National Weather Service, so nationally. So he was driving his Humvee around out in the 3rd Ward area. So I will tell you that was he gave me the opportunity to ride along with him. So and I do want to announce that Randy Bacchus has closed on the house and will be moving to the city. He will be here at the 4th of September meeting. So he is finishing up with his other community as their financial director and / treasurer down in Effingham, and he's excited about moving up here to the community. We have offered the job for utility directors to Tom Kopensky. We have another Tom on the staff. He is the Tinley Park utilities director, and he is also going to be moving to the community here. We expect him here within the next 3 weeks. I know Sean will be grateful so he can get one of his jobs off his plate here. So we go. And Tom Glendenning will be doing a turnover with him. Tom was involved in the initial interviews too with him, so he comes highly recommended. He also worked with the city of Atlanta prior to going up to as the water and supervisor, water supervisor. He was actually involved with bringing from a water sewer commission to for the city of Atlanta, bringing that department back under the city. So he's experienced that. So, so that's, and we'll be doing our fire chief interviews on Thursday and Friday. So we should have some information coming forward with that. 3 outstanding candidates coming up. Be doing those interviews, and hopefully we have come to a good resolution here. We do have the fire chief, the president of the fire and police commission also participating, as well as myself and the fire chief in those interviews. So that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick things for the mayor's report. About 6 weeks ago, the council passed a resolution signifying a dollar amount of $7,500 at maximum for the fireworks, and I'm pleased to report that that number has been turned in and it's more like $2,800. So a big thank you to the committee and all the work that they did on that, saving the city money. So wanted to be able to report some good news on that. Also in line with the police chief talking about cruise night is Saturday night, and I believe they still need a few more volunteers. So if anyone would like to step up for that, it's actually quite a lot of fun. So you can see Danielle at the FDDF if you'd be interested. And also just to remind the constituents that there's no taxpayer money going into the In God We Trust that will be put on the front of City Hall. It's all strictly by donations, and we have already received 8 checks that have come in for those donations. So it is underway, and anticipating that to go quickly. So if anyone would like to donate to that, I know Mike had challenged everyone a few weeks ago. So if anyone wants to donate, mail them to City Hall. Otherwise, that concludes my report. And Alderman Busker.
Nothing this evening.
Alderman Bradshaw.
Thank you. I want to thank all the department heads for working with us through all the flooding issues. I think all of you are a bunch of heroes, including our city manager. You've done a great job of fielding the complaints and the extra complaints that come along with the flooding complaints. As an alderman, I was trying to keep my head above water, so to speak, with everyone calling. And not just with my constituents, but with properties that my husband and I own as well. We had several that flooded. And then, of course, with all the complaints coming in with the constituents with issues dealing with the city issues, they also seem to have a list of everything else they wanted fixed in the city. So I sent out a bunch of emails to everyone, and I hope I didn't step on any toes too hard, but it's really hard to keep track of them all as they come in, and I have scraps of papers everywhere, and I've been trying to keep a better track of everything. I too wanted to thank Alderman Ross. He went out of his way not only to serve his constituents in Freeport, but he and his guys made a flying run and brought extra cleaning things to the Salvation Army, where I had been working in my free time when they were desperate and in need, and we were all out of cleaning bleach, and they were issued extra supplies from Pearl City when they finally had their fill, and he brought the quota to us so that we could continue helping out people throughout the city of Freeport. So I think everybody here has gone way above and beyond, and Ms. McDonald, our community development person, shocked me. She doesn't know this, but I was going to my businesses in my ward, asking them if there's anything I could do to help, and some of them had said she had already stopped by them to ask for if they had any reports or needed any assistance from the city. So I want to thank you for that. That's never happened before in my ward, and I really appreciate it. That's it.
Alderman Keister.
Yeah, a couple real quick things, Mayor. First of all, as bad as the flooding is, if you want to really see how bad it is, see it from here. I had the opportunity to do that Monday. I know a couple people talked about a plane flying around Taylor Park. That was neat. It was, to see it from the air and to try and take it all in is quite something to see. The only other thing I have is I want to announce that my late wife's celebration of life will be Sunday the 13th, this coming Sunday, from noon to 4 o'clock at the Eagles Club here in Freeport. All are welcome. And Manager Crow, I must apologize. I was going to ask you this morning and I did not. You were going to check on having to make out a agenda or something so that we can have more council members there. Oh,
sorry.
You don't have to yell.
There is no requirement with this type of get-together for us to have an agenda, and people can come and go as they feel. There's no violation of the Open Meetings Act for this.
Okay, good, thank you, because I was concerned about that, because I know some of the council members want to come, and if I'm there, well, only one can come at a time, and I didn't think that was fair, so I wanted to make sure we had that legal and there was no issues on that. So please, anybody that wishes to come and share memories of my wife or just support the family, noon to 4 o'clock, Sunday at the Eagles Club. There will be some food, open bar, and some desserts. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Chesney.
Thank you, Mayor. Manager Crow, you did a really nice job. The flooding, I think that the City of Freeport got their first taste of what professional management kind of looks like. I know that you worked around the clock. I know you established a city Facebook page. I know that you and Dovey were working tirelessly to get everything uploaded on the city's website. I know that you waived permitting fees. You've established drop zones for sand. And while I'm sure there's still people today that have
Well, I won't add that debt.
We're gonna look at is, Sean went out, city engineer went out and took all kinds of readings that have never been done on the Yellow Creek.
Our concern was the Yellow Creek just had not been modeled. Well, in that time it had. We have 100-year study done maybe a decade ago or so, what they considered kind of Lake Freeport of, developing that area, carving that out and making that a retention area, pretty much everything, just outside the city limits or even into it.
Yeah, that would just be a great idea, because if the grants and stuff are available, I think we should take full advantage of it and, put it just into use.
And that's where it gets in, we have to roll this into the comprehensive plan as we go forward, because that's what the grants are looking at. Does the city have a plan as we go forward? So we're going to talk, that's as we go forward into the comprehensive plan. We're going to talk a bit about it as we go through our strategic planning, where we need to go with this and how we approach it. And Sean and I have had several conversations on this.
Right, because when, like you said, when you're comprehensive, because when you got modern plating want to become bigger, consolidated grain is right there. We got our own water sewer that's sitting right there. We got a lot that's over there right now. Matter of fact, there's a building right next to me. They're doing really good. They slowed down just a little bit, but they kept the ball rolling. So it's not just residents, but there's businesses also. You got Art Square. We got a lot of, so something that we ought to, I know we're taking into consideration, I shouldn't have to say it, but I know. I'm just saying with all due respect, let's take a look at it all.
Okay, then public comments. Tommy, did you want?
Todd, we got some Dennis from from the chapel said something about they had a board that why by his car by Adams and fire station, and he told me to tell you about it. And I wanted to tell you the bowling tournament is coming up the 19th to the 20th at the Four Seasons. And Joey Miller, I just talked to Tanya Temple, and she's gonna know you're coming to it, to Four Seasons to speak at Four Seasons like Mayor Gibbs did.
Well, I'll have to check my calendar, have her give me a call.
Give you a call. And wanna know about the house at Saltback over by Joanne's Rabbit. Yeah.
What do you wanna know about?
South box over by Joanne's Rabbit. So,
Well, they're still in construction,
is it gonna be open?
sometime this fall.
You don't know about the old Eagle store down there?
I do not.
Do you know Mike Down?
I don't.
What about the one over by Lincoln Mall? Oh,
We don't have anything we can share right now.
okay.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, item number 16 is the executive session. Madam Clerk, could you please read this into the record?
Pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. Also pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees.
Thank you. Is there a motion to move into executive session?
So moved. Second.
And who was the first one? Was that you, Peter?
Peter.
Motion made by Alderman McClanathan, seconded by Alderman Clem. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll to move into executive session?
Busker.
Aye.
Brashaw.
Aye.
Keister.
Aye.
Chesney. Clem.
Aye.
McClanathan.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
And that passes 8-0.
How are you? Good, good.
And where? Front Ridge. Floodwater washed out. 1600 Ridge? Ridge curves around from Stevenson and then comes down. Down by Jody's. Yeah, yeah, like just down the street. Yeah. Yeah, they had a lot of water. So, well, there's a plan about it, the street was down, so maybe the approaches is dry. You can get it. I'll go on check. The first I've heard of it's on that. We got 2 washouts in there, come down towards Middlebury. I'm not surprised because I'm sure it was a torrent. Well, I told him to be patient because we were dealing with the flood at that time. If we got a washout, we'll deal with it. I think he can get in and out of there, but he has to go off on the edge. I think you guys can if there's any way at all about it that you can get an actual address with email to me, that'd be 16. Email it out to me, that'd be awesome. That way, not only will I not forget, but I can get out there. Thanks. Okay.